Welcome, everyone, to 24/7 Sports. I am Tom Loy alongside the 105 guys. We've got Director of Scouting Andrew Ivins and National Analyst Cooper Patagna. Signing day is right around the corner, so we're looking at 2025 recruiting classes all across the country and bringing you a look at the soon-to-be signees. We're going to hit a few superlatives and clearly state our take on a lot of these guys so you know what you're getting. Today, we're looking at Miami. The Canes currently have the number 11 recruiting class nationally in 2025, and there are 22 commits set to play for head coach Mario Cristobal. Andrew, we will start with you. Early draft pick potential, a guy with elite traits now, but somebody we could see getting drafted early in the next couple of years. Who do you got?
Yeah, Tom, kind of hard to handicap this one because I wish we could wait till the first week of December when Mario Cristobal has put a bow on this recruiting class. You feel like there's some more big fish out there that he's going to reel in. I'm going to probably surprise people here. Running back Gerard Pringle, our number 6 ranked ball carrier, number 138 player in the country. I don't know if he's a day 1, day 2 guy, but I think his game translates very well to Saturdays and then very well to potentially Sundays, right? Bit of a log jam there for the Hurricanes. Damian Martinez can return. You got Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle waiting in the wings. So it might be a while before we actually see Gerard Pringle, but he's a slashing runner, finds ways to get out of trouble. It hardly goes down, makes the first guy miss, even deep in the backfield. Not the biggest individual, but what I love about him, always falling forward, fighting for those extra yards, squeezing the most out of every single carry. And he's got the speed to get out to the perimeter. Also think some 3-down capabilities there. We know Mario, Alex Mirabal, they're going to invest in the offensive line. I think Gerard Pringle's a guy you're going to see over the next few years make some splash plays for the Hurricanes.
I agree with Drew. It's kind of weird. There's only one player ranked inside the top 100 for Miami right now. That's SJ Alafatuli, a guy that's an interior offensive lineman. So it's a little bit more difficult than I thought. But I'm going to go with Drake Stubbs right outside the top 100 in a safety that I really, really like, a long reactionary player. The more you watch him as a senior, though, just in terms of the cognitive ability, the way that he plays, his ability to key and diagnose, he can do a lot of different things. Can play the deep third, play closer in the line of scrimmage. I think going to be one of those versatile pieces that Coach Guidry on the defensive side of the ball is going to be able to kind of put out there early on the field next year. So I don't know if we'll end up being a day 1 guy, but we obviously like him a lot. I can see him being a guy that maybe kind of outkicks where we have him graded right now.
For me, it's SJ Alafatule. You mentioned him, Cooper. That is a bad man. Center, most likely the next level, potentially a guard, but mean dude. Love what he brings to the table as an offensive lineman. Multi-year starter, I'm sure, and just future captain. I like his difference maker for the Canes. Day 1 impact, a guy who's going to see the field early and often. Cooper, who do you got, man?
Well, I'm going to follow you here, right? You look at Miami in their offensive line, what they have there at the center position with Zach Carpenter, redshirt senior coming over from Indiana. I think SJ Alafatuli is one of those rare guys that can step in, and he's coming from a program at Bishop Gorman that he's going to be ready to play. Andrew and I talk about this all the time. You look at the freshmen impacting the college football landscape. A lot of these guys are coming out of powerhouse programs. That really shouldn't be a surprise. And SJ Alafatuli has the ability to play guard. He can slide inside and play center as well. And this is a guy that's played a high level of football for a long time. In terms of the Sunday potential, what that looks like a couple years from now, maybe that's a little bit in question. In terms of the Saturday player, I love what he brings to the table. Just a tough, physical, nasty kid, can get to the second level in an exceptional positional blocker on top of that as well. I think he fits Mario Cristobal, Alex Mirabal, those guys to a T. I think that's why they made him a priority throughout the process. And I think he should be one of those guys if you were to bet on a guy that can play early for Miami.
I think this is another kind of hard category to peg, and I think that speaks more to how Mario has built this roster of the past 3 years through the high school ranks. Yes, Cam Ward, transfer quarterback. There's a bunch of other veterans that have come from other places, but you look up and down, I mean, they are pretty well stocked with rising upperclassmen. I do think kind of one of the glaring weaknesses is going to be at safety. You're seeing it here in 2024. You know, Mish Powell, he's set to graduate. It seems like they like Zaquan Patterson, former top 247 recruit, more in a nickel role. That's where they're trying him right now. So I wrote down Hilton Stubbs here, Drake Stubbs, who Cooper just mentioned. You know, gangly, long limb safety. I think he's excellent against the run. Kind of have some concerns about him in coverage, right? Can he really run with wide receivers into the deeper third? But I think as a guy, he coming forward, he takes strong angles to the football. He gets people on the ground. He's going to add some weight. You know, he's pushing 200 pounds now. I think once he gets to that strength program, going to be up to 215. Reminds me a little bit of Rayshawn Jenkins, who was at Miami many moons ago and is now in the NFL.
I'm joining you on safety, Drake Stubbs. He's a do-it-all kind of guy, continues to get better and better. A smart, heady football player, tracks the ball well. I'm fired up to see him at the 2025 Navy All-American Bowl against the best of the best in the country. Boomer bust, Ivans. We got an intriguing talent who might underperform, overperform with his current ranking, kind of a mystery. Who do you got, man?
I got two guys, and hopefully I'm not stealing these from anyone else, but Amari Wallace, the safety, and then Jabari Antoine, the corner out of Louisiana. Both these guys are missing a good chunk of their senior seasons due to injuries. Amari Wallace, compound fracture during preseason camp. I loved what he put on tape as a junior at Miami Central, right in the Hurricanes' backyard. He's a playmaker, right? He can do a little bit of everything, not the biggest individual. He's under 5'10". Have a lot of questions kind of about the athlete, hasn't really tested, doesn't do track, not a multi-sport guy. But if you're talking about a pure football player, right, a guy that can make plays, a Cam Kitchens type, it is Amari Wallace. So he's one, or maybe we'll see him at the All-American Bowl, unclear, but that injury kind of muddies up the evaluation. And then Jabari Antoine, you know, he's out at Westgate High School in the boot. He's played primarily quarterback. They'll put him in at spot duties here and there at corner. He tears his ACL a few weeks into his senior season. He's got the specs, over 6'1". He's, you know, can shade on the perimeter, but another one where it's been difficult just because he's played another position, right, and he's missing time. So those two, you know, they could show up in Miami and they could absolutely hit once they get around that staff, but hard to kind of stamp them right now just given the uncertainty.
I'm going to go with Josh Moore, the receiver. I think at times we thought he was going to be a tight end. Now it seems like he's going to be a big X, you know, 6'4" plus, 205 pounds. It's kind of the tale of two different tapes. You watch the combine tape and you see this guy and you're like, wow, what a specimen. The way that he moves, so fluid in and out of breaks. It has yet to kind of materialize and all come together on the field, but he has shown flashes as a senior. This has been a guy that Andrew and our staff has tracked very, very closely. I love the developmental upside here. I'm just really kind of interested to see the vision under Shannon Dawson, what it's going to look like. That big receiver, you know, I feel like Miami at times is missing that guy in a Colby Young now at Georgia. I think Joshua Moore gives him that. Super, super fascinated to kind of see what this kid is going to develop to be at the next level.
I've probably seen this kid live more than anybody else just because I was living in Fort Wayne and he's right here in my backyard. But tight end Brock Schott, one of the most talented two-way guys in the entire country. Miami wants him as a tight end. And the reason I kind of got him in this situation with this category is because I like him even more as an edge rusher. Like him as a tight end, love him off the edge. I think that's where his highest ceiling is at the next level. He can make it to the NFL at either spot, but I really, really like him at defense. So we'll see how he pans out. Diamond in the rough, Cooper. We got a 3-star prospect who might surprise a lot of people and find himself eventually drafted. Cooper, who do you got, man?
I'm going to go with Dalen Upshaw, another guy out of my area in Central High School in Alabama. You know, he played opposite of Cam Coleman, the former 5-star, just a year ago and had over 1,000 yards receiving himself. He is a crafty kind of inside slot receiver. I think you'll see him at the Z spot at the next level, but a high volume guy that I think can do a lot of different things. Dependable is kind of the word that comes to mind when I think of a guy like that. So I like Dalen Upshaw a lot. I think he'll add a lot of value kind of in that wide open passing offense as well. So I'm big on that kid, super high floor. I think he's going to be really, really productive.
I'm going to go with Jaden Wilkerson, offensive lineman out of Orlando, Edgewater High School. This is a kid that just turned 17 years old, meaning he's going to show up in Coral Gables as a minor. I think his senior stuff, when you compare it to his junior stuff, it is night and day. He is large and round, but he is showing some big man twitch. 6'0", 5'7", 330, 33-inch arms, a little bit over that 10-inch hands. Gets low in his stance. He's going to need some time, but if you want to develop a big body, I think Mario Cristobal, Alex Mirabal, those are the guys that can do it. We've seen what they've been able to do with Markel Bell, who came through the JUCO ranks. See some shades of Bell and Wilkerson. To me, I think he's a name to know up front for the Hurricanes.
I am going to show some love to the gunslinger in this class, quarterback Luke Nickel. Candidly, I like Nickel more than I expected to over the last couple of years. Just kind of after watching him in the 7-on-7 circuit and then at the Elite 11 finals, I was more impressed than I was initially on tape. He's got a lot going for him. He's got the moxie. I feel like he's a guy who can win a lot of games. I do think he's going to eventually be a starter at Miami. He's athletic enough, throws with great timing, and he's got great mechanics. So I'm a fan of Luke Nickel. But that wraps it up. As I said before, we're going to hit a ton of schools leading up to December's early signing period. But for Andrew Ivins and Cooper Petagna, I am Tom Loy. As always, stay locked to 247sports.com.